Medical clerk made me stand outside in 104-degree heat, so I staged a mini-revolution. This took place during the first summer of lockdown where I live. Some context for you: my town is basically on the edge of nowhere. We have a medical center for basic stuff, but a full hospital is 30-40 minutes in any direction depending on where you chose to go. With that in mind, we get people from a huge surrounding area that go to our town center for tests, simple medical exams, etc. Maybe as many as 50 small communities use our center on a daily basis, so it is constantly busy. The center itself is quite small compared to hospitals in the city. The various clinics and a basic take up most of the space, with an area by the front doors for the public to sit in if they are waiting for a ride or someone visiting a doctor. It is that waiting area that is the cause for my story today. One day during the first summer of lockdown here, I had to go to the medical center for tests. Some things to know about me. I am challenged with multiple disabilities. I am legally blind, have significant mobility and balance issues, and a rather severe heart condition. As such, I use a walking frame and travel using the city's provided disabled transports. That particular day, I had finished my tests early and had 45 minutes to wait until my transport was scheduled to return to pick me up. I figured no problem, I will just sit in the waiting area and wait. Haha. I shuffled over to the seats with my walker plainly evident and was confronted by a new sign. Staff only. Say what now? I looked around at all the empty seats and vacant tables and turned to the clerks at the entrance. Me, can I please have a seat in the waiting area until my transport come back? Clerk, coldly, no, it's staff only. You need to wait outside. Me, I can't stand for 45 minutes waiting for my transport, gesturing to my plainly apparent walking frame that I was clearly leaning heavily on. Clerk, not my problem. There are benches to sit on outside. Me, the benches are full and we are supposed to be social distancing, not cuddling up to random strangers on a park bench. Clerk, if you want, I suppose I could let you take a wheelchair out and sit in that. Me, and how am I to manage a wheelchair and my walking frame at the same time? Clerk again, not my problem. If you want, you can call center management when you get home. Are we done here? Me, I guess we are done, huh? And went outside to find a spot to wait. Well, I stood outside for the 45 minutes while the sun beat down on what turned out to be 104th day. As I stood there, I noticed that there was a line of patients growing steadily longer, also standing outside in the heat waiting to be let into the building. Some looked fit, but let's face it, nobody comes to a medical center because they feel 100%. Most of them looked quite ill and some were looking pretty faint by the time they got through the doors. By the time my transport arrived, I was badly sunburned, thirsty as hell, exhausted and feeling more than a bit faint myself. My driver was shocked and insisted on walking me to my front door when he got me home to make sure I was okay. Shout out to all transport drivers, you guys rock. The rest of the day was a complete loss. I spent it drinking water, sleeping and nursing the burns on my shoulders and face. Lol. I was a right mess. The next day, however, I was pissed. I had plenty of time to recover and to think, and I kept coming back to that line of patients standing in the heat. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Malicious compliance. The words the clerk so smugly said you can call center management when you get home if you want danced through my sun-baked brain like a mantra. I called center management. What followed was a half-hour conversation with the sweetest lady. She was significant other nice and so upset when I told her all that went on the day before. She was especially concerned when she found out about the line of people waiting outside on what turned out to be the hottest day we had that summer. After our talk, the manager promised to look into it and get back to me. Now normally that's sort of a brush off, right? Not so with this lady. 2 days later, she called me back. Turned out, she had spent the day before sitting at the clerk's desk observing things that went on. Things like patients being forced to stand in the rain waiting to get into the center. Patients being poorly spoken to by the same clerk. And the cherry on top. At one point a tiny, elderly lady tried to sit down in the waiting area and the same clerk ran over and rudely shoved her aide and snapped staff only. With her boss sitting right there. The manager went over, tore down the signs, apologized to the lady and helped her to a seat, then took the clerk into her office for a chat. The results. The center was immediately restructured. Staff were moved into an unused gift shop. The waiting room is returned to the public, and best of all, the registry desks were moved so patients no longer had to stand outside waiting to get into the building. I never saw that clerk there again. I know this isn't as exciting as most stories on here, but knowing I was part of making things so much better for so many still makes me happy. Dang it, I am proud of my mini-coup, ha ha ha, vive la résistance and all that crap. Edit to add, thank you all for all the positive feedback and awards. You really make this human feel loved. Smile. Great job. People get a little bit of power and their true colors come out. I'm so glad you feel better and followed up. Mayor, it may not be as exciting or interesting as some of the stories here, but I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find many stories that end with this much community good. It sounds like your actions have greatly benefited many people who were in need. You should be very proud of yourself. Well done you. Sometimes complaints are needed and this was clearly one. Well done. I'm always amazed at how many people with a lack of even a minimal amount of empathy and compassion end up working healthcare jobs. Excellent. Great story of justice. That clerk is a literal scum. Good that she got what she deserved. Kudos to the manager as well. That's what I don't get. It doesn't take anything to be nice. Not a thing. Kind words, gesture, accommodation, it's just plain free. Sometimes not doing anything is a positive, nice thing. But being mean, disrespectful and obnoxious takes a lot. You need to make an effort to do that. I just don't get it. Like, man, you want to sit here, have a cup of water. Sure thing. Doesn't bother me, takes no time at all, is a right thing to do and it helps you out. Being mean and difficult, that just extra work. It's exhausting. People like that receptionist don't have happy heart. You did so much good. It's a perfect story for here. You are a champion, for all of the patients. This is the type of management that keeps businesses from going under. I had to pause when I read First Summer of Lockdown. I still can't believe it's been this long. Carry on with justice, Op. This is what MCs are all about, the ability to make the world better by hitting idiots with whopping karma bombs. Well done. That is so great to read. Good on you for taking the time and patience to complain about the poor treatment that Clark was giving. I always advised patients and visitors to call and complain if they were mistreated. It is the only way things will change. The staff can complain, but we are always ignored. I am so glad you did your mini revolution for that center. Sometimes you can't ignore a justice boner. Well done. Seems in character for high school students. Excellent. Also, are you doing okay now? Thank you for taking action and calling the manager here. Too many people just let stuff like this go because they don't to bother or make trouble. From one disabled person to another, I weakly salute you. Thank you for having the guts that I often lack. You're the hero your town needed. As someone also with multiple disabilities who surely would have fainted in this scenario, thank you and well done you for standing up and making a change. I bet that woman had never had to live with a physical disability and had no idea the impact of something as simple as standing outside, but thanks to you that no longer mattered and something was done. Op sounds like a raging Karen, to be honest. Deciding that you don't need to follow the rules at a hospital clinic at the height of a pandemic where workers are trying to keep people from mingling inside because of said pandemic. The worker even offered her a wheelchair to use to defuse the situation. And people in here cheering for the firing of the poor worker. Took me a long time. This is awesome. One trick in situations like that is to ignore someone like the clerk and just sit down anyways. I know it's a hard line to cross, but once you do, it almost feels like magic. My rule is if I don't feel it is unreasonable to do so, ignore the rules if it suits me. Life becomes so much easier, and nobody is harmed in the process. Not exciting my ass. This was amazingly satisfying since I have a keen interest in the topic. Well done Op. For those who can't see it, the malicious compliance is as follows. The clerk said, if you want you can call center management when you get home. Op does so and an investigation was opened resulting in the firing of the clerk. You brought about a significant improvement for many vulnerable patients. This was no small victory, amigo. You did good. Disabled and sick people can spread COVID just as easily, if not easier, than anyone else. It literally wasn't her problem, Karen. I see this as a big win. It's really nice that someone cared enough to fix this horrible situation. Or, damn, that is pure compliance. And I'm glad to hear that you obtained real change. Exclamation mark. You are my hero. I really like your story. Thank you. Hugging face. It's lovely to see people who trip on power put in their place. Why would there be a gift shop in a medical center? You made a difference. Thank you. My good person, you are a hero and others won't even realize it. Hugging face. Why wouldn't you just sit down? What's she gonna do, lol? As a fellow disabled person, I love this. Your malicious compliance is snarky and helps tons of folks. That's the best kind. Well done, heart. If I had an award to give you, I would. You are a star. When you said that you're proud of your Mini Cooper, I went back and reread your post 2 times looking for any mention of your vehicle. Sitting here thinking, when the hell did he mention his car? Took me a solid 5 minutes to realize you're referring to your miniature coup d'etat man facepalming light skin tone. Love the story, though. You've likely made positive change that will improve dozens or hundreds of other patents' experience at this location. Bravo, clapping hands, light skin tone. Most posts here are about making someone's life worse when they messed up, and let's be honest, that's why my petty ass is here, but I love that you made a positive difference for who knows how many people. I don't see any MC here. Perhaps one of the revenge subs would be more appropriate. Nonetheless, good for you. You were the change you want, or however the saying goes. You have made life a little better for a lot of people. I hope this clerk was fired and not just transferred. Clark probably didn't want people possibly infecting the area with COVID. As we cheer on op, we should possibly remember this was a stressed-out frontline worker at a medical center during COVID. They were rude and apparently in the wrong if their boss got mad at him, but I can understand their side here. I'm gonna get called names, but it's a doctor's office. That doesn't mean it has some special requirements to allow you to break their rules. They are a business and their responsibility to you ends outside of the service they provided for you. If you can't stand in 104-degree heat, it's up to you to arrange adequate transportation on a 104-degree day. They are not obligated to allow you to hang around during a global pandemic. They may want to decide to treat their customers better, but they are in no way obligated to put their staff at risk because your ride isn't here yet. Sometimes rules exist for a reason, but kindness and empathy should be more important. The registry desk should have been moved outside, along with the clerk. Check the patients in, then the patients get to go inside. The clerk has to stay outside. Funny when the Karens are the service workers and tell you to go seek higher authority, then get roasted when you do. You're a great writer. I was fully invested the whole time. Good payoff at the end, too. Well done. You're a rock star. I'm really delighted to read your story, thanks. Good on you for actually ringing, and I'm so glad you got onto someone who would actually change the situation. I hope the sadistic bastard who sent you out was permanently demoted to garbage duty.